This happened in my childhood home in Miami, Florida between 1999 or 2000. It was a very long time ago. This happened after school one day during broad daylight. It wasn't at night when I would expect to see something like this. My grandfather would pick me up at school and wait at home with me while my parents got home. If it was getting dark outside, he would stay a little bit longer so I wouldn't stay home alone for too much. This day I thought I was by myself. I love scary movies, horror films. I love it since I was little, but I was not allowed to always watch it. I would sneak into my parents' room and use that time to get a movie or something I wasn't allowed to watch while my parents were around. I was watching a movie. I don't remember what movie it was. I usually watched it in low volume in case my parents came in. I had time to shut everything off. While I was watching the movie that day, my dog started freaking out. She wouldn't stop. I opened my parents' room door. At the end of that hallway, I saw the silhouette of a person just peeking out from the side of the wall. I didn't feel scared. I didn't feel anything really. I was more of processing what happened. Am I really seeing this? As soon as, maybe a few seconds, it went behind the wall again and I closed the door. I thought, no. It's not my imagination because the dog is on defense mode. The dog is barking. The hairs are raised in the back. She was freaking out. I opened the door again. It was popping out again. Once I opened the door, it went behind the wall again. I said, oh my gosh, this is really something. Maybe someone broke into the house. I opened the door. It was out again. I grabbed my dog. I went back into the room. I had my neighbors as an emergency contact. I called them and I said, I think someone's in the house. You can come over or knock on the door, maybe scare them off. Within a matter of minutes, my neighbor is standing inside the house with my grandfather. They were checking everything. I was confused why my grandfather was still there. I thought I was home alone. At the end of this hallway, right at the brim of the wall, there was a couch which was not visible from where I was standing. But if you're in the living room, it's right at the edge of the hallway. My grandfather, turns out, fell asleep and took a nap. That's where I saw that shadow person. It was a completely black shadow, solid, not transparent. There was an inch of space between the couch and the edge of the wall. Then was standing on the couch, my grandfather through the couch. If it was half a person, I have no idea. It should have been either on him or through him. He was sleeping. If anyone was standing there, there was no space to really stand because the couch was right there on the brim of the wall. It's a one-person couch. He sat down, got distracted, and he fell asleep. When he woke up, he was super mad because my neighbor had knocked on the door. He's like, why did you call her? What happened? I said, I saw someone. He's like, impossible. I was there the whole time. My parents said that I ate too much candy. I didn't even have candy. I had pastelitos, like the Cuban puff pastries with guava inside. I didn't tell them I was watching anything because I know they were going to blame it on that, but my dog was going crazy. She was my confirmation. That house freaks me out. I've seen other things in that house, not as clear as that. It was always that living room area. We had vertical blinds, and even with the AC shut off, the blinds, you would hear them clacking, like, just moving, like if someone just ran their fingers through them. I would hear that. I would see the white glare. I couldn't really see anything directly. It was really fast. I would see it on the side, like my personal vision. Like if someone blew smoke next to me, but I couldn't really catch the full puff of smoke. Another time I went to the bathroom at night and I saw a shadow really tall past the door. It was not as clear as that shadow that I saw that day. That shadow was crisp, like a black cutout, perfectly clear. The other ones I had seen were much taller, all the way to the roof, dark. It looked like a person on the other side of a curtain. That's what it looked like. I am 34 now. I lived there from the time I was 5 till I was 11 or 12. I still have dreams with that house. Dreams that I've gone back. The last dream I had was last year. I dreamt that I was knocking on the door and this decomposed person said, "Hey, we've been waiting for you." I woke up so scared. I called my mom and I'm like, I can't get over this house. I don't know if it's a childhood attachment or if that house just scared me so much I'm traumatized. I've looked it up before, shadow people. What I've seen is spot on to what I saw. The red glare and the black silhouette. My grandfather and my grandmother were religious. They didn't fall into any of that. My mom blew me off a bit. It was so bad that at night I had to sleep with the lights on. I remember being afraid and I couldn't turn off the light. I would go into a panic. My dad agreed with my mom, but after my parents divorced, maybe 2 years or so after that, I told my dad again. I said, "Hey, you remember the time I saw this?" He said, "I had to go along with your mom, but maybe you're just developing something. Because I can see stuff. I can see stuff." I said, "Why didn't you tell me before?" He's like, "I didn't want to scare you. You were already scared as it is." He had never seen any shadow person. He had seen a white woman by the curtain. I was like, "No, don't tell me that." My dad, after the divorce, he got into Santeria. That made matters even worse. I would have dreams of things that were true. I jumped of a car accident that I had with my grandfather. My grandparents pretty much raised me. They were there full on my whole life. I remember I pretended to be sick for a few days because I thought we were going to crash. A year later, we had a car accident. Lucky for me, I had wrote everything out and I drew a picture. When we had that car accident, I said, "I want to show you something." I went to the house, pulled out of my journals, my little agendas that I had. I pulled out and it was a red pickup truck that hit us, just like my dream. Where it hit us and what intersection it hit us in. The only difference was that my grandmother was not in the car in my dream. Everything else was spot on. My mom didn't say anything. My grandfather got upset with my dad and said that he was putting things in my head. How else would you explain that? When my mom started dating someone, I jokingly told her, "Hey, I know this person." I started making up what they looked like. When I met them, it was the same description I gave. My dad at that point said, "You might have what I have." However, I have not had too many experiences in my adult life. Just little things after my grandfather passed. They weren't good. They were very spooky to me. Nothing great. No lotto numbers. Nothing. No good news, definitely. My dad was dating a lady during that time that he was into the Santeria. I told him I had a dream that her ex-husband buried something red under the rose bushes that she had in the front of the house. He started digging up under the rose bushes and there was an animal jaw that was wrapped up in a red bandana. Under the rose bush were weird things like that. Nothing nice. My dad, after that, anything I said, he would take it and go. He wouldn't doubt me for anything I had to say. When I was little, it was hard because I didn't want to see or hear anything or none of that. As I got older, I haven't really experienced too many things. After my grandfather passed, I was, you grieve. He took care of me my whole life. One day I just was completely out of it. I was like, I miss you so much. Show me a sign that you're watching over me. I heard 3 taps. I was like, oh, no, never mind. I'm just kidding. I got really scared and I was like, no. I told my mom and she was really upset I did that. She told me you could ask for a sign and it might not really be him. That really scared me. I never asked for a sign like that again or anything again. From what I've seen in movies and heard, there's other entities and things that can pretend to be a loved one just for you to let them in. I don't want any of that. My dad, he has had a lot more crazy things happen to him. My dad, when he started dating my mom, he was going to go out with a cousin. My mom asked him please not to go and not to attend. He ended up staying behind. That same day, they actually killed his cousin. They murdered him. My dad would have nightmares that his cousin was asking him to come find him. He would tell him where. My dad ended up going to the cops and said, hey, I'm having this dream. I can see certain things. When the cops went to check, they actually found his cousin. I think I don't know if he was cut up or if he was just placed in separate garbage bags in a canal in Davie, Florida. And apparently his cousin was involved in bad business. My mom, that would blow me off when I would tell her any of these things. As an adult, she told me when we lived together and I would talk about his cousin in any bad way, we would smell cigarettes or like cigars in the house. His cousin was a very heavy smoker. I have a nose clipping. I had saved the baby just because I was digging and I wanted to just make sure that my dad wasn't making anything up. They took my dad as if he was involved or something. Later on, they cleared everything, but they ended up finding his cousin. I dream with that house so much. I've actually checked it my whole life. I've checked it to see if it's gone on sale or anything. I thought about going as a potential buyer to just walk through or take a look at that house. It's gone on sale twice. I haven't had the opportunity to catch it on time. I've also thought about writing to the owners, but I don't know how they might take that. Or if they're too welcoming to just let a stranger go. It actually sold last year in October. I checked if the house was on sale and I had just missed it. I would just keep driving. I actually pull pictures from Zillow to see what the house looks like now. That hallway has maintained. I feel bad for the third room that they added onto a portion of the living room because that person's closet is where my dad's shrine was.